Hi, my name is Tom, and this video is a brief introduction to a tool I've been building called MuDG, or MuDG. The purpose of MuDG is to utilize AI to hopefully build a interesting, interactive, multiplayer learning tool. So we're going to go through a book that I really like, Zen the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and use the tool to both remind ourselves what the book was about, but also to build on that and go from a starting point and build out a grid of knowledge and hopefully learn something along the way. So I started by just literally asking the question, could you elaborate on the complexities of Zen the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance? So we get an answer, and as you can see, we really hit on a really interesting topic of the book, which is this metaphysics of quality, the bridge between subjective values and objective reality. And it creates these diametrically opposite ideas and certain oppositions and tension within the book. And so the tool is going to give us a short answer. You know, if you're just mildly interested in the topic, it will give you a little bit of a reminder. But we go in a bit deeper, and it really touches on some of the interesting topics of the book, especially the classic romantic modes and dualism, mind versus the world. And as you see, we go down and we can look at actual real examples from the book and how the metaphor or the use of the motorcycle trip allows us to go through and expand on these tensions, you know, the philosophical tensions within the book. Now, what is a bit different to other AI tools is that we can then branch out. So maybe we want to know a little more about the ancient interpretations of quality. And so, you know, Pirsig isn't necessarily the first person to have talked about this, and like most things, can be traced back to earlier cultures. And you can see that we have a lot of different foundations, and you know, this may not have been aware of us if we just read the book or just read an article about it. And so we can branch out and maybe want to go a bit more into this different contrasts. So we have the classic romantic worlds, and there's too much text to actually go in to much detail. But we can see a whole bunch of different interesting links to other writers, other ideas. Now, this is all built during using the tools of MuDG. So you can see at the bottom we have things like related ideas. We have branches. So if we're looking at an argument, we can go into pros and cons. We can actually combine different ideas and see what synthesis we get, or do a deep dive. Or we could go through and explore all points. And so we can pull out some of the points of the last thing and actually branch them out. So we could have a look at Dewey, and we could look at the critiques of Pirsig's metaphysics. And you can see we're just going to build it up. And while we're doing that, we can actually look at different ideas. So we can look at qualities, adjacent concepts of craftsmanship, beauty, judgment, practical wisdom, and we can go from ideas from different cultures. So we can look at the answers we just got, and we can see that we can read a bit more about this. Now, there's obviously too much text to go into huge amounts of detail, but you can see how we can build up this knowledge, and we can go from a very top level to deep dive into completely different topics and make arguments with it and ask questions at any point. We can go in and we can select anything and ask about the selection, so we can find out what we don't know. The last thing I want to mention is that there's obviously a search, and all of these nodes are shareable. So you can literally copy and paste a particular node if you want to discuss or debate with someone online. And all this information is downloadable as a PDF, as Markdown, or even as an image. So the idea is all this is shareable, multiplayer, knowledge generation. So that's the quick intro to MuDG, and I will leave a link to this very graph in the description so that if you want to come in, read more about it, or indeed modify it and take it in directions you find are interesting, then I welcome this, because AI is going to change education and it allows us to build a more structured, saved bit of knowledge that we can build up over time. So thank you for the watching, and hopefully I'll be doing some more videos in the near future.